It's World Rhino Day. Come and celebrate with our 3 cows at Longleat. In the crash at Longleat, we have our 3 cows, Ebun, and we've got Marashi and Razina. Razina's our more dominant cow, and we've got 1 bull called Njanu. At the moment, we're not currently breeding, so the bull lives separately to the cows, as he would in the wild. So a normal day in the Rhino house, we'll start bright and early. We'll start by mucking out. The most important part of our morning though is the Rhino mud bath. Their skincare routine is the most important thing to us because it keeps them nice and healthy. And then after they've had a good mud bath, they come out onto the reserve to graze, and that's them busy for the rest of the day. World Rhino Day is really important to us for raising awareness and putting a spotlight on this awesome species. Rhino species themselves are at a tipping point. The poaching pressures are immense, and through raising awareness and through supporting NGOs in the rhinos' kind of native homelands, it supports rangers, their training, equipment, helps protect rhino habitat. It also helps communities that live near rhinos' natural habitats see and feel the benefits of rhino conservation as well. It's not just about the rhinos, but it's about the communities that surround them and those communities working to preserve what last remaining rhinos there are. A lot of rhino conservations like Tusk have education kind of foundations. They help educate kind of local communities, and also not only in the continents where the rhinos are, also Asia, where the highest kind of demand for rhino horn is as well. Creating education opportunities there to try and stem that demand and stop poaching is really important too. Longleat work to support Tusk, which is an umbrella organisation that funds all sorts of rhino protection activity, which is really important to us all as keepers here. But also we scientifically contribute to rhino conservation as well, working with the Northern White Rhino Project. The rhino cows here themselves have donated eggs to contribute to the development of IVF techniques in rhinos, which is now being used internationally, which is really exciting for us. I'm never not amazed by how different rhino personalities are. I've never met the same rhino personalities in any collection that I've worked at, and especially not one like Ebun. Ebun actually picks her favourites among the keepers. Some of these rhinos are great pranksters. Ebun in particular is a massive prankster, especially when we have new starters. When I have new starting keepers, if they walk through the house for the first time, Ebun will actually mock charge the bars just to see if they'll flinch. It's almost like a rite of passage when you join the team, but yeah, she's an absolute character. She's so cheeky. I've never met a rhino quite as cheeky as Ebun. The Southern White Rhino themselves, for me, an absolute inspiration. These guys are a conservation success story. So in the late 1800s, there was actually 300 Southern White Rhino left known to science. They were all in one last game reserve in South Africa. And it was the foresight of the head game ranger there, Dr. Ian Player, that divided this last remaining population. And over the years, we've managed to build this population back up from 300 to 16,800. So rhino conservation, when it's all focused in the same direction, can really work. The Sumatran and the Javan rhino, their populations are kind of, they're dwindling down into the numbers of the 40s and 80s. And it's these populations that we really need to be focusing on and supporting. And albeit the Southern White Rhino is looking good these days, back at 16,800 or so, but their cousins, the Northern White Rhino, there's only 2 left known to science. So on the kind of flip side of the spectrum, it's a really precarious time for rhinos as a species. It's really important to protect rhinos from extinction because they're an umbrella species. The rhinos shape and mould the landscape around them. Their feces feeds the insects feed the birds feed the small cats. And without the rhinos as this keystone of these ecosystems, the other things start to fail. And it's really important to maintain that balance. And it would just be such a shame to see them disappear from the landscape. Good girl, Ebun. Yeah.